I just got off the train. Just got off that train that passed. That's the Oregon Convention Center. And today I'm going to be in the Lloyd District. Just going to take a short walk around the Lloyd District, which is where I am right now, but we'll see a little bit more of that. So I said in previous videos, the blue, green, and red lines all go through here, so it's all as busy for trains. This is Martin Luther King, Portland North-South Road. This is also 99 East. And you can see there's some medium-sized buildings around here, including some hotels. So this area is just outside of downtown, and if we look that way across the river, well, first we see the grain docks, and then there's downtown hidden by a train. Maybe I can get a better shot of that later. And lots of people are right now telling me I don't know what I'm talking about when you watch this, because I'm going to say this area of the Lloyd District is basically like the northeast downtown. It's an area, you know, there's some big buildings here, there's some offices, entertainment, dining. So it's right across the Willamette River from downtown, and in many ways this is like an eastward extension of downtown Portland, only not quite so in a lot of ways. So if you look at this right here, this might not look like a downtown experience as much as it looks like a corporate office park experience. I think I said something to that effect when I was in San Jose, in downtown San Jose. And that's pretty fair. There is some dining. Look at dining. And there is, you know, some entertainment, but a lot of times this is more like big corporate offices. A lot of times big, boring corporate offices like the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Bonneville Power Administration. I saw a Kaiser Permanente building. Pacificor used to be here. Don't know if they still are. So a lot of this is kind of like downtown, but more boring. Case in point. But also, hey, food. Food is never boring. And a lot of that is developed over the past 30 years, like a lot of Portland. The convention center went in the late 80s, early 90s, and then the Max went in 86 to connect this area. More case in point, Providence. You know, a lot of insurance offices. It might actually be a facility, but so this area here is not full of like trendy little shops and stuff. This is full of more offices. Look at all that white marble and neatly trimmed trees in a line. Wide roads. Although there is good transit here. We see the Max, and we also pass the Portland streetcar tracks. Right across here, this is Holiday Park. Also, this here is the Lloyd Center Max stop. This is where the Max stops being a streetcar and goes more into commuter rail mode, where it has its own right-of-way for another 4 miles from here. This is Holiday Park. Lots of shade. By the way, these train tracks here, there used to be like a little vintage trolley that would also do part of the Max route, and it would stop here. Don't know if it's used for anything now. Anyway, this is Holiday Park. Also known, when I was a kid, I just called this the park outside of Lloyd Center. Very nice, shady place. Another point, so this is Lloyd District. There's Lloyd Center across from us. Portland has dozens and dozens of neighborhoods with something called the Office of Neighborhood Involvement, and they're like official neighborhood groups, and most of them are neighborhoods that are more residential. Lloyd District does not have very much residential character to it at all. It's mostly corporate offices, retail, but there is a Lloyd District neighborhood. The thing about these neighborhoods is, actually I'm going to pause so you can look at these two maps. Is that I found sources that said that this park was both in Lloyd District, which makes sense, it's right across from Lloyd Center, and in Sullivan's Gulch, which is the residential neighborhood that starts just to the east of this. So with these neighborhoods, Sometimes there are things that Portlanders would actually recognize as a neighborhood, like everybody in Portland knows what Laurelhurst is or where Mount Tabor is. And sometimes like Brentwood, Darlington, that's a neighborhood, but that's not something that's as clear-cut or has as clear of an image in most Portlanders' minds. So most Portlanders, when they talk about Lloyd District, they would include this. They would include a lot of this area, even if it's not officially in the neighborhood boundaries. Anyway, it is a nice June day in the park. So this is Lloyd Center. Maybe hard to believe now, but when this was built in the 1960s, I believe this was the largest mall in the United States. And like a lot of malls, it currently is facing some struggles. It's still open, but not the gigantic magnet that it was back in the day. And I don't think it's open right now. It's still only like 10:15 a.m. or something like that. So I'll just walk around the outside of it. And right here across from the mall is the location of Lloyd Cinema, where it was the location. As you can see, it has a fence around it. It looks kind of unkempt. So I think it's been a while since the theater up there was active. So that's the case of a lot of places. When I was a teenager, going to the mall, going to the movie theater next to the mall, still a really cool thing to do. Obviously, factors have changed that. So this neighborhood's a little bit more quiet than it used to be. Okay, I'm a dumb person who doesn't know what I'm talking about because, as you can see, there's actually new movies there. So the parking lot is closed, but apparently the movie theater is still active. Huh, that's interesting. And there's a Dollar Tree. Interestingly enough, sometime back in 2006 or something, that was the first Dollar Tree I ever went to. And at the time I didn't know it was a chain. I thought it was just like a cheesy one-off store. Oh, over the years, how much my wisdom has grown. So there's a Ross there. Like I've talked about at a lot of malls, some of the large anchors have left, and what's left is kind of the mid anchors and then a lot of professional offices. I don't think it's open, and if it was, I wouldn't have enough time to go in there and really do a thing on it. But this is what the outside of the mall looks like. A little bit outside of the mall, there are a number of local restaurants and little businesses. Right now where I'm walking west, I'm going back towards the transit center. So one thing about a neighborhood like this for me, actually I live pretty close to here, so I do have a lot of memories. But I think in a lot of ways, like, this isn't quite exciting enough to be downtown. People don't have memories of how punk rock changed their lives in this neighborhood. But it's also not your like folksy small residential neighborhood. So it's kind of in between, but there is some interesting stuff here. Here's another restaurant. Some of these, like Blackwater food, drinks, music. Is that a bar? Is that a restaurant? I don't know. Something's going on here. Actually, quite a number of things are going on here, apparently. So this is kind of what a typical, like, not residential but not downtown neighborhood looks like in Portland. So now I'm going to start taking some of that back because, like, look at this. This is a nice, cute little neighborhood restaurant in a converted house, La Mienne. So yeah, there is that stuff like that. Maybe I was too harsh in calling this area a corporate office park. Of course, also, that was a couple blocks away. Here we're kind of moving more into like a residential small business area. And then as we get closer to the freeway off-ramp, we have some freeway off-ramp culture. We have a Burgerville there. Right ahead, we have a McDonald's. So, this area is really a mixture. It's a jumble. That's the thing about cities. We saw some big office park type buildings. We saw a shopping mall. We saw some small independent buildings. We have some franchises. And this is all kind of on the border of where the downtown of Portland turns into residential Portland. So it is a jumble. And also, one of the reasons why my description goes all over is my memories are also a jumble. This was, well, I lived close to here, but this was never my main place. But I have passed through and around this Lloyd District, Lloyd Center, the Max tracks here so much over the past 30 years that for me, I have quite a lot of memories, and sometimes I can't, I don't have a single idea of what those memories were like in a place like this. There's the Portland streetcar going by. Over there is Walgreens, one of my past employers. Not here in Ciudad Empresarial in Huechuraba, but still, I did work at Walgreens. And well, this just shows more of this neighborhood going along Grand. Gonna go back to the Max tracks, walk west to Rose Quarter, and then take the yellow line north. So here we have a Kaiser Permanente office, I imagine. And then we have a Red Robin. So one reason for this video, and I've said this many times before, Portland has a reputation. Either it's, keep Portland weird, it's all twee and cute little independent businesses, or recently that Portland's like some type of, apocalyptic wasteland. So here, I mean, this is not totally representative, but Portland has its neighborhoods that are just big, wide, boring streets with chain restaurants and office buildings. Hello. But also, some of the reports about like Portland's having a downturn, it's true. 10 years ago, the idea of unused retail space in Portland, that was nonsense. And I have seen some stuff for lease. Obviously, I've seen a lot of restaurants and entertainment still there. But yeah, things have changed mostly since and because of the pandemic. We got here just as my train was pulling out. I'm just gonna go wait over there in the shade for a while. Shouldn't be more than a couple minutes to wait. So as is often the case with these videos, I have a jumble of memories, and hopefully the fact I'm kind of free associating as I walk through neighborhoods, sometimes contradicting myself, saying things, seeing things I don't expect to say, saying things I don't expect to see. Hopefully all of that actually gives you a sense of like, yeah, this neighborhood can't just be reduced to one stereotype. There's all sorts of things, even within a couple city blocks. And there's dozens and dozens of neighborhood in Portland. Hopefully I can visit them all, but not today.